Hi, my name is Charity Hignite, and I teach 4th grade English Language Arts at J. Upper Elementary. And I am working on this first question. It says, based on teaching experiences and philosophy, what do I consider to be as a thinker and why? And so I've identified 2 areas that I think fit me best. But first of all, I always tell everybody I'm an out-of-the-box teacher, and so I teach the subject matter, but I may not be able to follow a script very well. And so I don't fully identify with any of these. I can identify with pieces of different items. And so linear thinkers talk about structure. And so it says the linearist wants education to be as efficient as possible, both physically and empirically. And so I think about structure. And so I am very structured. And so it doesn't matter what I'm doing in class. I have a plan, and that's what we work towards, is the end goal of my plan. And so it doesn't matter what the students are doing, whether it's a digital activity, on the board activity, a hands-on activity, a handout assignment, or a test, or a project of some sort. Everything that we do has a purpose. And so the students know, I normally say, okay, everything has a catch. We may be having fun, but it still has a catch. And so the students know, by the time we're working on the first part of the lesson, they know what I want them to learn, or they have an idea of what I want them to learn, and so they know that they have to work to learn that. And then I also identified with the holistic teacher. I have my notes here. And so the holistic teacher says, for an example, making suggestions, asking questions, and prompting student concern, teachers persuade students to join an educational experience. And so I'm constantly asking students why. It's like, why do you think that? Well, how do you know? And so I want that proof. And so I constantly encourage students to, want to know more. And I try to persuade them to know more. And so one of my favorite things is, because I'm an ELA teacher, I've taught reading most of my career. And so I've had students and parents come in at the beginning of the year telling me that their child hates reading, or the student hates reading. And so I love hearing that, because that gives me a challenge of persuading the student to want to read and want to do better. And so normally I use all kinds of get to know you questions and get to know you ideas at the beginning of the year, so I can get to know these students and their interest. And then throughout the year, I observe them and I watch them and I listen to them, so I can learn more about them and the things that they like. And so I use those items to help push the different reading genres towards them. And of course I teach them all about reading, how to identify personification and all the little fun, quirky things about reading. And so the students eventually buy into it and they want to read. And so normally by the first parent-teacher conference, I'm hearing parents and students both tell me how much they love reading and how they used to hate reading. Or when they come in the conference, parents tell me, hey, my child's reading at home on their own and they want to read and they've never wanted to read. And so I think because of the holistic approach of, kind of getting to know the student, being more observant, and watching and listening and using everything I learn about the students, and it benefits not just me, but it benefits the students. And it also, I can identify with the linear thinker, because even though I'm persuading these kiddos to come my way and be more educated, they're still doing it in a way that's structured, and that still follows my philosophy of a structured education and my goals, as we work hard to reach those goals for the students. So, well, thank you. I hope that answered the question, and have a good evening.